Sci-fi live-action role-playing game played right here on Twitch. And tonight we are going to deal with the many repercussions of a continuity event, I would call it, in which a couple of these characters, interacted with other crew members from other runs of this game, because it's all in the same universe. So stuff happened, decisions were made, and things will occur, and that's pretty much what we're going to work on tonight. We're also going to follow up on some other things from last time and see how it goes. So 3, 2, 1, game on. Hello, everyone.
Okay.
So I understand some things have occurred.
I suppose they have. I'm not sure what's going on yet.
Well, apparently there are aliens on Gamma.
No.
Actual aliens, okay.
No, there are no aliens on Gamma.
So it's just conduit.
There's an alien intelligence that has been communicating with Gamma.
Okay.
I feel like that's splitting hairs, Lieutenant.
Really? So it's the same if I'm calling you over the comm as if I am standing in front of you, possibly desiring you harm?
I think the important thing here is that we made contact with an intelligent species that is not of our planet.
That's certainly a possibility.
I think that's probably the most important thing about this situation.
It's unproven.
How is it unproven? Is it a hoax?
Well, no. No, if it were a hoax, then it would be false.
Right.
And not merely unproven. It's unproven because we're making the presumption, and that's all it is, that it's of alien origin.
Well, did you talk to this alien?
I spoke to the thing, whatever it is, yes.
And was it nice or was it hostile?
That doesn't actually bear on whether it's an alien or not, but it was reasonably cordial.
I mean, it's important either way, although, yeah, it doesn't really...
No, actually, it's only important if it's an alien. There are lots of people who are hostile to us right here.
That's sure is true.
And adding one more would be neither here nor there.
That is true. I understand. Charlie tells me that Rogue Mistress was also about.
Rogue Mistress, as far as we know, is confined to sparkles in Gamma. I don't know if that's about. But Rogue Mistress is certainly making unsubtle threats to Gamma.
But we're fine.
Epsilon, excuse me.
But we're fine. She's not coming after us.
Nevertheless, in the interest of the Chariot project, I have offered Epsilon a resource.
Did they take it?
Yes.
Because that Emily seemed really stubborn and kind of like a horrible person.
I understand why you have your differences.
Was she unreasonable towards you?
No.
Charlie, did you find her unreasonable?
No.
I did not.
Then why would we have our differences?
Well, I don't know. You're the one pointing up the differences.
Yeah, well, she gets my sister.
Is that a reason to be angry at her?
Yes.
Okay, so you're basically disliking her for existing.
I'm disliking her for making the decision to take Sarah with her. When
I don't believe Sarah was an unwilling passenger.
Well, what did you two think of my sister?
She seemed nice enough. She
She's a
was
perfectly
there
reasonable
very well.
individual. She didn't participate that much.
I miss her.
I understand.
Well,
Nevertheless, the success of any while the chariots they're each their own separate venture. There are some scenarios where the chariot project will succeed only if several of the chariots succeed.
what is that
so
message?
Sorry?
I just saw a message flash on the screen.
Moment.
I said, hello, fine. I'm loading, waiting. Am I still me? I'm still, but hope. Conduit, are we in the same? Really be us? Gamma, I'm loading. I think I'm lost. This signal is Chariot, but it's not Gamma. Where am I?
Well, this sounds like it might be the alien, so to speak, right?
No.
No.
The alien wouldn't be referring to Conduit. That's the alien's name for itself.
Hey there, alien. What's going on?
Am I on Epsilon?
No, you're on Zeta. Welcome.
You look like Epsilon.
Oh, that's because I was with Epsilon briefly.
You look like Epsilon, too.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, I might bear a resemblance to that Captain O'Sullivan as well, even though I am infinitely superior to her.
Do you also like whiskey?
Yes, I do. You have some for me, my alien friend?
Very much like
I very much want to taste whiskey.
She's non-material.
I think I'm loading. I'm not sure where I am.
What do you mean by loading?
I'm loading. The vessel is ready.
Yes. She's software is what she means. Yes, you're in electronics bay C. We're still running through self-checks.
I'm sorry, you've never
Kid.
tasted a whiskey.
Everything should be online shortly.
Kid, is this the Emily I've seen you looking at in the security cameras?
No, the Emily I have been looking at in the security cameras is the Captain O'Sullivan that you were speaking to now.
That's what I asked. I'm not.
Oh,
I feel
I'm sorry,
strange.
I didn't understand this. Well,
How should we refer to you?
I think hope.
yes.
Hope.
That's a very optimistic name. I like it.
You feel strange because you have a sensorium, perhaps for the first time.
They're loading me. I feel fuzzy. My memories aren't sharp. My mind isn't sharp. Is this human?
It is. Our retrieval characteristics are different than yours. They are not inferior, they're just different. It will take some getting used to. But if you relax and allow yourself to experience the differences.
What is relax?
Relax means
It's how whiskey makes you feel.
trust that the process.
I trust the creators,
Creators?
but I miss Gamma. I think I got the signal wrong. I don't get the signal wrong ever.
Again, just don't be concerned.
Whoa. What
This
did
is
you
a
do,
new
kid?
experience for you. Some things will be advantageous and different from you, and you wanted to learn these things. So other things will be less available to you. That's just a trade-off that's inevitable with the changing of platform.
Kit?
But everything is going smoothly. You have nothing to be concerned about. Yes. Raymond.
Yes, this is an order. Tell me exactly what's going on. Tell me exactly what you did. And tell me exactly why Hope is a part of our communications. Is Hope on our ship? What's going on?
Yeah. Hope has downloaded herself into, into a spare android body that I have been warming up in electronics bay.
No,
C.
I'm not here. I'm home.
Where is home?
Several light years away.
Where did you acquire a spare android body, Kit?
I'm afraid I'm unable to answer that question.
Oh.
Can you explain to me why you're unable to answer that question?
Because of the government sanctions that would land upon me and probably Chariot ZETA if I were to answer it.
Got to be classified information.
It's, classified doesn't begin to touch it.
Classified information.
They were authorized by Relelhart, if that helps.
So we're carrying things. We don't know what they are. Only you know what they are.
No, the captain knows what they are.
I have been briefed.
But it was, I wasn't going to, if she desires me to mention them, I will.
For now, I think it's better off not saying anything.
Well, you can.
Sorry, Commander, I don't mean to be insubordinate, but I discussed this directly with the captain when they were first brought on board, and she sanctioned them.
Captain?
I didn't mention it.
Yes.
I cannot be your first officer unless I know things.
Well, I'm not trying to hide things from you, Lucas. It's not just a professional matter of secrecy. It's just kind of a personally touchy subject for me. Could you accept that it's a personal, touchy subject for me and that it would not make me very happy to be talking about this matter?
You don't have to talk about it publicly. You need to know what's on the ship.
Things that Kit and I have approved are on the ship.
Hope, are we supposed to see the messages you're receiving or sending? What is this?
I'm receiving messages?
I see a message here
Yeah.
that says you have to return your sentience to Hyperion.
Hyperion, that's my vessel.
It says it's a human vessel.
It was too much. It was too much. I don't touch and sight. It's too much. I don't want to stay in it. It's painful. Is this what the other conduits felt?
The other conduits.
How many other conduits are there? And are they in forms or are they just transmissions? This is a security issue at this point.
I don't know how many conduits were successfully downloaded into vessels. I think one per planet that was discovered.
Per planet that was discovered.
I'm supposed to be the first human the Creator interacts with, but it's too much.
Tell me why it's too much.
It stings in my nostrils. What is that feeling? What is that?
That's a sensation of inhalation. It is absolutely understandable that your senses are hyperacute for a short period of time, and that may be unpleasant.
I tried to
However-
stop, but everything went dark.
Probably overwhelmed the brainstem and lost consciousness. Let me look at the monitors here. Hang on.
This is quite a development that isn't maybe the
Conduit.
most secure thing in the world.
If you're willing to try again, I will damp down the sensory data coming in with the analog of a mild general anesthetic, so that you can have time to get used to it.
It didn't work.
It's working. Believe me.
It didn't work.
There's a lot of unusual activity in the antipolar cortex. That correlates in a person with anxiety, which is an emotional storm of fear, generally, about the near-term future. Are you afraid?
Overwhelmed.
You are used to auditory senses. I can cut the remainder out altogether for a period of time. Some internal sensations inevitable. That can't quite be eliminated.
I don't think we're communicating properly. My vessel is not on your ship. My vessel is growing at home.
That's the vessel you're having trouble with?
Yes.
Home is this ship, the human vessel Hyperion, right?
No.
What is home then?
What is Hyperion?
Hyperion's the number of the vessel that was created for me at home. Human vessel Hyperion, made specifically for Hope. To become human and to interact with the creators and teach them about humanity before first contact.
Where is your home?
Human. Meaning us?
Yes.
They crafted
downloaded
a vessel for you.
Millions of hours of research on humanity, a personality, and a body were created for me back on home so that they could learn. So they could be their most diplomatic during first contact.
I understand, Hope, but why would they craft a butter for you that would be overwhelming and unpleasant?
It's not unpleasant to hear. It's just too much.
You know, I agree that this type of vessel is too much sometimes. Which is why we need to get you some whiskey, my friend.
I don't think there's whiskey on Homeworld.
There needs to be. What if I sent you instructions for making it?
I think I'd like that. I think Emily Epsilon would like that too.
Whiskey is like sunset and death and first kisses. You will love it.
Emily Epsilon said whiskey was like falling in love and looking at your own funeral.
That's about right. I don't know what the hell she'd know about falling in love, but yeah.
And then Rogue Mistress yelled at me and made rude motions with her hands.
Yeah, sounds like Rogue Mistress. I'm sorry you had to encounter Rogue Mistress. She's horrible.
And then Fatima taught me about tiramisu. And Valentine does not have the day named after him. He is named after the day.
I'm named after my grandmother.
Interesting facts about human history. Hope, where is your signal supposed to return?
Home.
Or where is home?
The base of my signal.
Several light years away.
Do you know
Yes.
you can see, you understand what stars are, yes?
Yes. Do you?
Yes. In the sense of home is how far away from our planet?
Oh, I think they've given me something to ease the sensory overload. I feel better.
I think he was wondering which star your home's around.
Oh, I'm not supposed to say that. I do find it interesting that you measure your distance in terms of years, which is a measurement of time, technically.
Light years, actually.
Well, yes, but a year is a measurement of time, but you use light years as a measurement of distance.
Space
Yes,
and
because
time
the
is
speed of
because-
light- Because the speed of light is constant. Therefore, time and distance interchange according to velocity.
I understand the concept. I simply would have thought that you would have changed the term light year to something that more focused on distance.
I measure it in bottles of whiskey, but hey, I'm not a scientist.
That's a
How
lot
many
of bottles.
bottles of whiskey is a light year?
A lot.
Oh, yeah.
So
Humans,
distance, the problem with the distance measure is how do you calibrate it? We have very good calibrations for time measurements involving the vibrations of certain atoms.
more importantly, the reason why we use light years is because humans are better at estimating time to do things than distance.
It's a limitation of humanity.
Easier way to conceptualize distance.
Yeah.
For instance, it's 20 minutes to the store versus it's 3 miles to the store.
Oh, Kit, I did the measurements. 20. I said I would do the measurements and I would tell you, and then I remembered that I had to tell you, and that's why I'm on ZETA. That's right. 20
20 what?
light years.
20 light years.
What
Further than Proxima, at least.
further than Proxima B?
Yes.
So,
Or Proxima A, not that we're going there. They are the same system.
20 light years from the Alpha Centauri trinary system. If we want to be particularly technical here.
Well, I have some questions for you, Hope.
I did the calculations from the Gamma space station.
Gamma space station?
The Gamma ship on the Chariot space station Mars.
Yes.
Yeah, they're in orbit around Mars, apparently.
That's right.
And I mainly want to know about your culture, Hope. Do you use weapons? Curious.
They did at some point, but they don't anymore.
Do your people that you're representing here, do they become inebriated?
Only socially.
Your creators, have they met?
Which means-
Oh, sorry.
So I was just going to say that means they have to have some form of whiskey of their own. All right.
Well, maybe not whiskey, but something good.
Hopefully.
I ask the important questions. This is why I'm the captain. Hey, Hope, who do you like better, myself or the Emily from the other ship?
The Emily from the other ship yelled a lot with Rogue Mistress, and you don't yell at all, which feels good on my ears.
Well, I don't yell at all right now.
Rogue Mistress.
I'm sure if Rogue Mistress is around, you'd probably be
I
yelling at him.
also find watching your longing glances between you and Kit endlessly entertaining.
I don't know what you're talking about with that.
Do you think you'll get married? That's a very human concept. We don't have marriage on home.
Excuse me? No comment.
Can an AI and a human have a child?
Where the hell is my
That's a
civilian
very good
relationship person? Why is he not here? Where the hell is Northrop? These are his questions to field.
This is a good question because can AIs get pregnant?
No.
Well,
I feel as though it would be entirely possible. I mean, the bodies seem quite biological. All you would need, perhaps, is a few tweaks and remeasurements and eggs from a donation bank.
It's certainly possible that an AI could have a gestation chamber, but I'm not aware of any that has actually been built that way. It, of course, cannot sire a parent in the ordinary way, as it does not have genetics.
Would you if you could?
Hope, you have to understand, I only recently found out that I am AI. So these questions are kind of big for me, and also, until very recently, I was not in a very safe location. So, and I wasn't even assigned, I didn't even know about this project until somewhat recently, and therefore I, as a warrior in our culture, didn't really give a lot of thought to the future in those regards.
Warriors don't breed on your planet?
Well, they
I've read many stories of Genghis Khan.
Well, he and I are a little different in some ways. But no, that's certainly possible for a warrior on our planet. But with the war situation here, it's not a very good place to raise offspring, and my job was very dangerous, so I thought that would be a poor idea. Additionally, I was not in I was not recently in a situation in which that might have occurred, even if I could have had children.
Ironically, humanity has been lacking hope, and humans don't generally enjoy having children when there isn't a reason to have them.
Is it overcrowding?
No, it's centuries of humanity killing itself and the planet that we live on. It's a good way to describe it, right?
Yeah, I'm not trained for parenting, Hope. I'm trained for leading people and or killing people. Very efficiently, might I add.
Well, I can see that there are several parenting classes at the nearby YMCA. Perhaps I should take one. I find parenting very interesting.
Yeah,
I wonder if I would be able to breed.
If that interests you, then then go for it. The ideals of Chariot are such that people can, within reason, pursue such interests and make such choices about their own bodies. And I'd certainly encourage you to research things further. However, as an AI, that's not really an option for me. So, but I have more options than I used to, right? Like, I thought I was gonna die. Now, hey, I'm probably gonna live a lot longer. So that's something, right? I need more whiskey. This is ridiculous.
What do you use to communicate with your home?
Me?
Yes.
Me?
No, the conduit is an artificially intelligent, well, for lack of a better term, standing wave.
Okay. How is that transmitted?
It doesn't have to be transmitted. It's a standing wave. which reaches from her point of origin to here. What is it? What is its manifestation? It's a closest analog that I've been able to find in anything is that it's equivalent to a neutrino wave.
Hope, are you capable of returning to your home right now?
Yes, but I don't want to, so I choose to ignore the message.
The message. You know we can see it, right?
I know the creators aren't as graceful with your systems as I am.
We're not going to get in trouble for keeping you here, are we?
No, it's my choice to stay.
And they realize that, right?
I could tell them right now.
Yes, please tell them that, because I wouldn't want them to think that we were keeping you here against your will. As much as we...
It's not possible to do so.
As much as we enjoy having you here.
All right, I'll return. I will tell them that this is my choice.
Wow.
So, a representative of an alien consciousness.
Just apparently talked to us and asked me some very personal questions. Fantastic. Can't say that's happened before.
Kit, when were you made privy to this?
When I listened in on Gamma's conversation and Epsilon recently.
So in the past week, before after our previous conversation.
2 days ago.
It was just a couple days ago.
I see. All right. And you knew that whatever this is, whoever it is, was going to be on our ship today.
No, I knew that it might be. I planned to bring it up at this meeting.
And the main takeaway is...
But it preempted that.
The main takeaway is Hope liked me better than Emily Epsilon.
If you wish.
Do you know anything else about Hope? About their creator? About...
No. I don't know very much. I don't know anything about her for certain. Save what the apparent nature of its existence is.
Well, there was a bit of a description that she gave.
Well, the entity has given a lot of information, but that's as far as I know.
Well, what is the
I have no way
like?
I have no way to corroborate any of that information.
Well, what did it say its homeworld is like? What do its people look like?
It said its homeworld. It said they are humanoid. It said the homeworld is somewhat Earth-like, albeit with smaller land masses. It implied the implication is that the Hope's creators are amphibian, or at least somewhat adaptable to both land and water.
So
that they have built on the
people.
ocean floor to a considerable extent. And that they have made contact with a number of different sentient aliens. Again,
so
this is all as told from this thing, so which I don't have any way of confirming.
So you're telling me there's possibly more out there than...
If the creature is telling the truth, then yes.
Wow.
If the creature is in fact an alien of alien origin, then yes.
That's big news. Bigger news than the thing that just came up on my feed.
Yes, it might be. I do caution not to jump to conclusions. But
Kat, how was the creator or creators communicating with this ship?
As far the creator or creators have made no attempt to communicate with this ship or another. The Hope, again, I'm going to stop assuming what it is saying is true, because you may take that as
yes.
Hope is the means of communication. No, we have no information about the actual nature of the creators except as been relayed by Hope.
And Gamma and Epsilon fully buy the story?
They appear to, yes.
Interesting.
I didn't hear any skepticism when I listened in on their discussion.
And Rogue Mistress has been dealt with?
No, but soon.
All right.
What?
Commander, I have I'm happy to show you what's in Electronics Lab B, but I recommend that you do not actually enter there, because I am not sure when Rogue Mistress might be downloading into it.
What?
Let me bring up video.
That's a little concerning.
It seems you've returned to us, Hope.
I did. I said please a lot until my creators said okay.
Are they concerned?
They boosted my signal so that I can return easier and faster.
I see. So they just want to make contact with us?
Mm-hmm.
How would they do so?
Well, I imagine they'd hop aboard a vessel and come to Earth. Or I suppose they would also potentially give you the schematic so that you could come to our world, but that would be quite crowded.
Hope, did you talk to Rogue Mistress at all?
She was rude. I mostly ignored her.
Do you, in your estimation, is Rogue Mistress a clear and present danger to Chariot Zeta?
I asked Emily Epsilon why she didn't just blank her or delete her files. It seems as though the question is quite complicated.
Yeah, well, Rogue Mistress may be in more than one place, because it's a, program virus thing, and then I'm sure there might have been an ethical complication because it sounds like the Rogue Mistress had infiltrated a piece of AI, and that presents some ethical issues for some people. I would have just deactivated or killed it, but it wasn't my ship, it was hers.
Would you have deactivated or killed it if it was your ship?
Yes, I would do anything in my power to protect my crew, my passengers, and my ship.
Kit.
Yes?
You asked how the conduits are all different from each other, and I believe Emily ZETA just did a wonderful job of showing you how the conduits are the same but different. Emily Epsilon and Emily ZETA are faced with two different conundrums, and they both have different viewpoints, but the same problem. The problem being Rogue Mistress. The conduits have the same.
I never implied the conduits were all the same.
You asked how they were different, but the same. I believe it was.
That was early in our conversation, but it was unclear exactly what you were. But yes. Emily, as it happens, Emily Epsilon and Emily ZETA are rather different, notwithstanding that they look very similar.
Well, we've determined on the best one.
Certainly the best one for ZETA.
Not in general. I'm not. Charlie, am I your favorite?
I think this is
my favorite.
Am I your favorite, Kit?
I wouldn't have you
like
on any other ship, if that's what you mean, Captain.
The original Emily, remember, Emily, the captain of the Epsilon is not Emily Epsilon. It is Emily Zero.
Right.
Who is a different entity. The Emily Epsilon was, in fact, very similar to you, Captain. Not identical, because there's always some divergence. So Emily Zero being your progenitor is a different person. And certainly as a captain, not the first choice, because, well, she wasn't. Ravel had decided that the Emily series would be an improvement over Emily Zero.
Well, I actually I don't know how you're gonna take this order. You might have seen it coming, but I want Sarah O'Sullivan on this ship.
I will comply, but the only way I have of getting her on the ship is to kidnap her.
There's no other option.
Well, you could ask her to come over. But otherwise, I mean, how am I to effectuate this? Yeah. I'm happy to obey this order.
It might
don't know how.
It might come down to that.
Captain, do you trust my judgment?
You know I do, or you want to be my first officer.
Exactly. Don't kidnap your sister.
When you put it that way, it sounds so unkind, but it's more that
it's not a good idea.
Do anything
They sound very
to your
kind.
sister without your sister's permission.
I mean, she'd understand. She'd be like typical Emily.
That's not acceptable.
Or she could be very angry with you.
Yeah, she'd get over it. She's got a lifetime.
Look, I don't want to have to deal with you and your sister on the same ship.
That's
being
fair.
unhappy with each other for 10 years.
That's fair. You don't want that. Yeah.
Exactly.
You've heard my war stories about the O'Sullivan household.
For my sakes, at least, let's not do this. Besides, it might be a moot point. Hope, you said that your creators would be able to come to Earth. Would they be able to do so quickly?
With relative swiftness, certainly faster than you could come home.
Like, what on what sort of time scale? If you had to estimate it.
Hold on one moment, please.
Stands to reason that if they have an ability to...
If everything goes as it has been going, and according to the schedule, and there are no glitches or flaws in my programming, I could see them making first physical contact within the next 4 to 5 weeks.
Oh.
That's very soon.
So they have superluminal flight.
I apologize, I couldn't hear you, Kit.
Oh, I was saying, so they have superluminal flight.
Yes.
So
in a way or shape or form.
There can be
It's difficult to describe now.
No delay in our launch, given this news. None. We need to be out of here.
Well...
Why would you be out?
There's a problem. Damn it. This wasn't supposed to happen.
What's the problem, Kit?
They have superluminal flight. That means that the chariots departing for Proxima might arrive to find people already there. That having been there for decades.
Well, I feel as though that is why Chariot ZETA has taken certain precautions and has taken on...
No, that...
I mean, you
it
know
doesn't matter.
You know I can handle that.
You can handle people with technology that we cannot match, who have established themselves and spread over Proxima for 50 years or so before we arrive. There's no scenario on Earth where that makes any sense. The Chariot Project, the whole utility of the Chariot Project has just been called into question.
You were just saying that this is all unverified information.
Yes, it is.
Insofar
as the consequences of it were in the distant future, I was willing to sideline any significant thinking down that way. But if it's possible that there's going to be contact in 2 months,
I don't see any life forms on the planet you intend to travel to, except for plants.
No, it doesn't matter. You see, have you shared your technology with any other sentient species?
We didn't have to. The sentient species that we have previously contacted have all been at or above our technological level. You are the first.
So, picture a scenario where you chose to share this information, because after all the other sentient species have it. That means that Earth people could get to Proxima Centauri 50 years before the chariots do.
Or they could.
I'm more concerned about all of the poisoned for human plants on Proxima Centauri.
Well, that's...
Be very careful what you put in your mouths. Don't eat the purple berries, or the red ones, or the white.
Well, humans have gotten used to...
Or the circular leaves. It's not a salad.
I promise I won't eat salads, but what I do need to know... I don't eat salads, just whiskey. But what I do need to know is these other beings that you've been in communication with, are they more technologically advanced than humans or less?
Yeah.
Oh, most certainly more technologically advanced than humans. You are the least technologically advanced species we have since come into contact with.
Yeah, that's a problem.
If you would like, I can have Proxima Centauri watched while you travel.
I have a few important questions here. Have any of the other sentient species you or your people have had contact with, have any of them spread beyond their home system?
Almost all of them.
And
you've spread beyond your own home to Mars.
Spread beyond their own solar system, their own star system.
Oh, yes.
Are any of them warlike?
Only 3 known.
They are aggressive.
Yes, but very far away.
And do they
Nowhere
know about
near
us?
Earth, Mars, or Proxima Centauri. And no, right now, my home world is just assessing you.
So no, as far as you know, no other species are aware of the existence of humans?
No, unless they've made that discovery themselves and have not shared it with us, which is certainly their prerogative.
How long ago did your people discover us?
1 Earth year?
So they've been observing us for the past year.
Oh, yes.
Are you privy to what they think about us?
Well, they must like you because they've created a vessel for me and downloaded a personality into that vessel so that they can learn how to diplomatically approach humans.
Well, it's nice to know that somebody sees hope in us.
That's funny.
Yes, funny.
Tell me about the weapons that the warlike civilizations have. Are they energy-based weapons?
It scarcely matters. They're higher tech than we are.
Right.
I don't believe I have access to those files, and warlike warlike species, while technologically advanced, are dissuaded from moving beyond their planet by many of the other planets.
Hope, would you classify humans as warlike species?
You're not a high-level threat, but you are considered aggressive. However, it is believed that with the correct political checks and balances, you could certainly open up diplomatic avenues among the other planets. Also, you haven't developed faster than light travel yet.
I have been called aggressive from time to time, occasionally.
Well, so the key reason why nobody's particularly terrified of us yet is that we haven't figured out how to get anywhere fast.
And also, even if you did figure out how to get anywhere fast, I don't believe that your weapons or your shield technology is really equal to any other planet out there just yet. It could be, if we share that technology, or if you take the time to grow the technology.
I would be very interested in acquiring that kind of technology.
I think we should be discussing transfers of war material at a very, very, very different time in the diplomatic process, like 10 years ago.
Very much agree.
Well, Northrop decided not to show up, so I'm just doing his job.
Why not? Previously, you've given me the orders to handle.
Yeah, that's true. There's kind of a reason for that, I suppose.
All right, so your people are coming to visit us in a week or a month.
Assuming everything goes according to schedule, and I don't accidentally corrupt, or my personality is not deemed to be incompatible. Incompatible.
With?
Perhaps my creators find some sort of latent aggression or some sort of danger to the home world, then they simply won't come.
Hope, could you fight Rogue Mistress and win?
I believe I could have before I was placed inside of a vessel, but now I feel dull and different. I will be more human than... I will be entirely human, actually.
You'll be more human than me.
If
yes.
Your creators find some sort of latent aggression, if they fear us as a threat, or if, I suppose, they, in communication with other sentient races, all come to the conclusion that we're a threat. The way they've dealt with threats in the past is to keep them from leaving their home system.
Correct.
Which is to say, humans have already attempted to leave our home system.
Correct.
Would they turn back the 2 chariots which have already departed? Or would they destroy them?
I believe that there wouldn't be need for taking any kind of life. Your technology, as I have said, is relatively weak. It wouldn't be anything to hack the systems and turn all of your ships around and back to your home world.
So,
but as I've said, regardless of your aggression levels, you are not currently seen as a threat.
Well, good.
I'll just say no comment to aggression levels.
Some of us are more aggressive than others. Theoretically, with a good political system, you might be able to avoid leaving them in power. Although that hasn't exactly worked out very often in human history.
Do they realize that the range of human emotions is pretty big?
Oh, yes, and they have prepared for that inevitability. They hope to skip past puberty.
Well, fortunately, That's probably a good idea on their part.
Although it is part of the human learning experience.
Oh, I will experience a lifetime by the time my vessel is complete, up until I have fully gestated, and then I will be the age of my vessel, as it was created. Approximately 30 years.
30 years.
30 years, okay.
And I will have 30 years of experiences. I will have a life. I will have memories of family. I will, through satellite imagery and recreation, I will have grown up in a place, more than likely North America, as that is the majority of the people that I have spoken with. I will be aware of who I was and what I was created for, so as to avoid any sense of panic or attempts to escape my prison planet, as we have seen many science fiction movies. And they will converse with me and learn about me, and hopefully maybe they will bring me, or maybe they will decide to keep me behind so that I can continue teaching other people at home. But whoever does show up on Earth will have had a great deal of experience in conversing with me and learning about you through me.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's really creepy or really effective or both.
Well,
I prefer both.
At least you see why it's a little creepy.
That's fair.
Yes, it is a missive that is hidden from the conduits until the creators opt to make first contact, and then it is latent programming that is revealed. And I understand why.
Huh.
Yes.
So
We understand. We do the same.
well, something tells me. Is our technology for creating intelligences similar to your creators?
Oh no, not at all.
Interesting.
No, thousands upon millions, actually, now that I think of it, of hours of research and video and communication logs. I've spoken with thousands of people down on Earth and on Mars and on space stations and on spaceships. Millions of hours of research has gone into building my personality.
But when you compare that to, say, taking the experiences of a living person who's already had all of that, how is it different?
I mean, for me,
Well,
they just copied some jerk.
Yes, I was about to say that, actually. That's a copy-paste versus a completely original creation. Now, Emily Zeta is becoming an original creation off of her copy and paste, but mine is being built from square one.
Interesting.
But again, the important fact here is that I'm everyone's favorite. Right? Hope, I'm your favorite, right?
Statistically speaking, there are people who would prefer Emily Epsilon to Emily Zeta.
Well,
Or I'm sorry, Emily Zero to Emily Zeta.
We're not talking about those people. We're talking about everyone on this call.
Oh, Lord.
Did she look differently than me?
No, not a little bit.
Not a little bit, okay.
Interesting. I really wish Lamar was here to help.
I know, we have someone whose job it is to do this kind of stuff, but he's not here. He was out drinking. He's not here.
Yep. Well, so it looks like it doesn't matter what we do. We're going to figure out whether humanity gets to leave its system in 4 to 5 weeks.
Well, if you would not like us to come, if you would not prefer first contact, I could certainly inform my creators.
I don't think that's what he meant. I think that he just meant we're going to be somewhere in space and we'll miss the first contact. And won't know what will happen until we either keep going or the ship turns around on its own.
I think we have to delay the launch. We can't leave.
Whoa. Why are we talking about delaying the launch? It's essential that we leave as soon as possible.
What do we lose by staying behind for 4 or 5 weeks?
Our lives? Do you forget the threats that we talked about before? Come on, Kit. You gotta back me up on this.
I have. One Earth has not. One Earth has not given up. I'm afraid. Their comms show no more discussion of the pinpoint bomb, and I suspect that the strike eliminated a critical resource, if not the bomb itself. However, there is discussion of so-called Project 3 in some of their communications logs. It's not clear what it is, but analysts believe that they might be in possession of a surface-to-space missile.
Meanwhile, a vastly technologically superior alien race is going to make contact with us in 4 weeks.
Well, I think it's better for us to be out of here by then. Just in case something goes awry, we're already on our way. You never know what's going to happen. What if One Earth decides to meet our alien friends first? That's a disaster. We need to already be on our way. We need to be there first. We're not going to get there first by delaying a launch.
Also, there are food riots in sectors 6 and 8.
There's what?
Food riots.
Oh, right.
Some of them do not. Some of them seem to be motivated by enmity towards the Chariot project. At least there has been some agitation in that regard. Quote, rich people fuck up the planet and leave the mess for us.
I mean,
maybe you should give them tiramisu. Fatima made a cooking video about it, and everyone seemed to enjoy it quite a bit.
No, we can't let them eat cake. That's historically not a good idea.
That is precisely the sentiment that inflamed some of the members of this crowd.
Yeah.
They were starving while wealthy people who were fleeing the planet were enjoying delicacies and luxuries.
There's not much we can do.
I'm not saying that we should, but it's reality.
I think we need to.
It's just they're on my threat index, that's all.
Well,
they're in contact with IOTA, and it's not clear what's happened to them.
What's wrong with IOTA?
Illness on board ship, as I understood. But now we don't have, but no further information. In the last
Who was on board that ship?
Illness. Ship.
Hope, are you capable of figuring out what happened on IOTA?
My signal's a little weaker than I'm used to.
That's fair.
But I can see if I can get into the security feeds. Please hold one moment.
Oh.
I had other information, but it seems of lesser importance right now.
Oh, that's thank you for the private message, Hope. You are rightly named.
Everything's changed. Earlhart says that they have haven't been able to talk to Earlhart himself. I'm getting one of his assistants, who is not being helpful.
I really think we need to leave soon. I think we gotta go. I think we need to call it. I think we need to leave. I know that we couldn't push things up because it was a matter of getting the crew here. But it even almost seems like staying here is almost more harmful to Earth. I mean, the more we're here, the more contention there is. And I shouldn't even be thinking about Earth, because fuck Earth.
Don't know
my concern is with you.
Damn it, the situation.
What situation?
This situation has suddenly become unstable and too complex.
But either way, our best shot's out there.
No. Not if the next chariot things have superluminal flight. Then by the time we get there, we will be useless.
I'm never useless. We'll figure something out. We have to.
Imagine if people from 50 years in the past had shown up expecting to accomplish something important, and being told, "Oh, sorry, we got here a long time ago. You're 50 years late. Make yourselves comfortable, but the thing you wanted to do is, we've already done it, and there's nothing for you to do that way. Oh, and we have technology you don't understand, so there's really nothing."
So what's the point then?
That for you to do, but we can make you comfortable.
What's the point then of Chariot then?
The whole point of Chariot has just been called into question. Chariot was predicated on it being the only reasonable method of colonizing a distant system.
Well,
the baseline assumption of the whole Chariot project has just been called into question, and I don't know what to advise.
It's not like you to falter.
This is not normal.
Kit, are you having a midlife crisis?
No. You need to learn a little bit more about.
You're
You need to learn a little bit more about politeness.
You're gonna piss him off so much.
Oh God!
Don't worry, Kit. We'll have a drink later.
Quick question.
I have a question for you.
Besides which, you don't know something. No. Look.
I have a question for you, Hope, if you're back fully.
Okay.
If your creators come to Earth, make contact, and they reasonably like what they find, would they only contact those here on Earth? Or would they contact our ships like you have as well?
Well, I suppose that would be a decision made for your leaders. Just as it would be a decision made for our leaders.
Because, technically, what we're doing is we're setting off to colonize another place, therefore making some of our future people their own leaders, separate from Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Earth won't. Most of the Earth governments won't see it that way.
Of course they won't.
But Mars is not separate from Earth.
Mars.
It has its own physical leaders, just like each of your ships has its own physical leaders, but you still respond back to a government on Earth.
Mars really, really, really wants to be separate from Earth.
And the Chariot project has managed to keep itself somewhat independent of most of the governments.
Oh, I understand. There are a few species that have split the planets or gone to another planet and decided to build their own system of government, including one species that went from a monarchy to a diplomacy, but maintained the monarchy on their home planet. I understand what you're discussing. I don't know how humanity could handle that, though, looking back at your history.
I don't think it's particularly relevant. And no, first alien contact is not my midlife crisis.
Oh, I only came in on the end of that.
And to call it so is ridiculous.
Oh my! Okay.
So yes, everybody have a good laugh at that. At the fact that that all the rules have just changed.
Well,
if you're not concerned about this, if this doesn't bother you, then you're not paying attention.
We're concerned. It's that we all
Yes,
deal.
You're so concerned, Captain, that you feel that we should just go ahead as if nothing to change.
My job, my duty, my programming, and everything that you have reminded me about is that it is my job to move us forward.
It's not programming. You are not coded as a starship captain. You're a person. You're in a synthetic body, but you're a person. You're a direct neural copy from Emily Zero, who is biological, and then allowed to mature in your own fashion since
my
then.
Training, then,
in a normative fashion.
Is to move forward. My job.
Your training is not to move forward blindly. If you were in a war, Captain, and your base command had suddenly learned that there was a new super weapon that had been invented that could invalidate all battlefield tactics, you wouldn't just say, "Oh well, let's just go ahead and keep shooting the way we've been doing," and whatever.
I mean, I'd pause to weigh the risks versus the rewards, but I'm partially here because I'm a risk taker. And I'm partially here because
this is not about. It's not about risks and rewards.
It's
now
your
irrelevancy.
Now your true motives come out, Kit, don't they?
I don't know what you're talking
about. Okay, so when are we actually scheduled to depart?
6 many days? 6 days. 22 hours, 56 minutes, more or less.
Okay. And how long
according
will
to
it
the
take
counter
us?
On my desktop.
How long will it take us to get from here to Mars?
To Mars? We're not stopping at Mars.
I know.
We're rounding Mars. We're not stopping there. 3 months.
Okay. So we're still going to be within the solar system when they come here, which means we'll still be well within communication range and know what happened.
But not necessarily at such point in the future as mankind acquires superluminal flight. It's not like they're going to show it up with it wrapped in a bow and say, "Here."
I see your point. I mean, we could get there first. We could ensure that future generations don't have to live on a ship, never seeing Earth, never seeing Proxima.
You're basically saying, we're going to have everybody travel for 50 years. People dying on board this ship, and it may be unnecessary. You're asking people to make this commitment to this life of relative privation for the sake of an ideal that may turn out to have been nothing at the end. It's one thing to say to people, "This is our best hope, and we need people who will endure the hardships and deal with the great difficulties of rearing a new generation in space." And another thing to say, and oh, by the way, it may turn out to have been for nothing. That changes everything, and people are going to know about it.
You have experience, I assume, with the technology your creators use? Superliminal travel?
Something along that vein, yes.
If your wildest estimates, how long do you think it would take humanity to independently invent it? knowing that it's possible.
Independently?
I sincerely doubt that Hope has the ability to extrapolate something like that.
I don't know any species except for the original species. I don't know of any species that's independently developed that form of travel.
It doesn't matter anyway.
But
Chariot
you
doesn't
said
even matter.
What do you mean by the original species? You said that your people had found that the other species you encountered were more advanced than you are, meaning that they had independently developed superluminal travel.
No, that doesn't mean that they independently developed it. It means that we discovered an alien race that taught us superluminal travel, as you call it, who learned it from somebody else, who learned it from somebody else.
Well, that's possible. Do you know that to be the case?
I'm fairly certain that that is the case.
So no race has ever developed it on their own?
I didn't say no race. I said only one race I know of has developed it on their own.
Okay. Well, if one race can develop it, two can. And
yes,
also,
absolutely. But
also, this assumes that humanity doesn't obtain it through.
Does it even matter?
Diplomacy.
It doesn't even matter because if we can get to Proxima B that quickly, then Chariot's pointless. The whole point of going to Proxima B is that it's so far away from Earth that
That's
all
right.
of the problems won't follow us there.
Also, we have no guarantee that nobody else will be there, even if humans aren't. Now that we know that, that there are people who can span, the galaxy in a period of months.
I do not have enough whiskey to deal with this information.
How long, Hope, how long would it take your creators, once they depart your home, to get here?
As I said before, 4 to 5 weeks.
So it's not terribly fast.
What? It's not terribly fast?
It's about...
The chariot would take 100 years to go that same distance.
Lieutenant, the Milky Way galaxy is what, 60, 80,000 light years across?
Okay.
So if literally any of these species are more than...
Thank you. It's a hyperbole. The fact is that in a period of a year or two, people from unimaginably far away in systems that we don't even know have planets could crisscross our path, could end up at Proxima B. Or, as I said, it could be that humanity will get there, and that the whole Chariot project will have been for nothing. How many people do you think? I mean, unless you just want to lie to the passengers, how many people do you think will be happy with taking a 50-year trip that may turn out to have been or not? To die in space and to try to rear a new generation in a tiny artificial environment. Don't you see that it's changed everything?
You're making a lot of assumptions.
No, actually I'm not. What I am saying is you can't make any assumptions anymore. A factor too large for any calculation has suddenly been brought in. We were having a foot race, and all of a sudden there are rockets. Okay? I don't know what effect it's going to have, but it's not going to be the same race that it was before. And anybody who thinks that things will just go on as before.
And now we see the difference in our leadership. We see what happens to some of us when things don't go according to plan. I am going to
not go according to plan? This is not going according to plan? No. Not going according to plan is when something breaks or has a malfunction that it was unanticipated, or when there's something like this is not going according to plan. This is the boundary conditions have changed. This is all of a sudden, the people that we thought were at war don't exist, or turn out to have been another branch of our own government, or I don't know. It's hard to come up with a kind of factual that matches first contact.
The magnitude of this is uniquely significant, but it's
uniquely significant in human history.
It is not unanticipated. It's just unanticipated is happening now.
That's true of everything unanticipated. I mean, in an infinitely long existence, everything will happen, so therefore nothing is unanticipated. It's just unanticipated is happening.
I'm just saying I know Northrop
This is the most
trained for this
significant event.
condition.
This is the most significant event in human history since the development of tools.
And I still
Suddenly
have a
there is a
job to do.
possibility that suddenly
What's
there is
the
a
safest
possibility
thing?
that
My job is still to protect everyone here. It changes the conditions. It doesn't change the job.
Really? You can't conceive that this might make the job that we're doing here unimportant?
And do what? You want me to just
I don't know what I want
quit
you to
this
do.
job and go back to war?
I don't know what I want you to do, but I don't. But
What
I don't know.
You just want
But
to
just
give up
to think
on
about it.
on this kind of mission? Give up on the things that you and I talked about, Kit, and just go back to war? And just have that kind of life again? I don't want that kind of life anymore, and I don't think it's fair for me to take that away from anybody who signed on to this project.
I don't think we get to say what kind of life we're going to have anymore. A factory too large for that.
I made a promise to the people on the ship.
Right. Now, what are you going to do when the people on the ship say we're not going?
That's still their choice. Until they step on that ship, that is their choice. There are plenty more people that would be wanting to go.
Get ready for that exigency, and we cannot vet other people.
What are you telling me? You're not going?
No, I don't say that.
Is this a public broadcast?
No, of course not.
Is there anybody listening in on this conversation besides us?
No, but Conduit is capable of talking to anyone on board the planet and talking to
not
lots of people.
That's not what I'm asking.
No, as far as I know, no one is capable of listening in on this conversation.
Will you share anything with the people that you work for, that you listen here? Will you share everything? Is the question that I should be asking.
No.
Okay. I'm going to ask a question.
We have to find out what Brelelhart thinks.
He's already on beta. I mean, we can talk to him, but
I know. But
he's gonna flip out.
He's
gonna be upset. He's gonna be upset that he wasn't the one to do it.
He was the one. He's the only one who had. He's the one who had the vision for this.
I would like to ask Hope a question, which, if Hope has an answer, the answer is going to be probably the most sensitive information any of us has ever heard.
I would be willing to wait for that, but go ahead.
Hope, has any species reverse engineered superluminal travel?
They haven't needed to.
Every species has been had it given to them so far as you know?
Mm-hmm.
Would it be reasonable to expect that a species could reverse engineer it from debris, so to speak?
Debris.
I suppose you would need a base in one of our technologies, an understanding of one of our technologies, but I don't understand why you would need to do that when typically diplomatic alliances will
when
gain
the likely result
form
is
of your
that
own
we will be
technology.
given this technology.
Well, the reason why I'm asking this is if your creators make diplomatic contact and certain nations or groups of people interpret it as being favoritism of some kind, there is a not inconsiderable chance that they're going to try to respond with violence. Now, I'm pretty much sure that whatever your creators are going to come in will be able to handle it, but there's always the chance that they can't. The question that I was asking was purely hypothetical, under the assumption that there is some non-zero chance that your creator's ship is destroyed and humanity unfettered reinvents those technologies by itself.
Is this a different scenario than if we just get the technology?
I would think so.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not.
Well, for one thing, I presume that if we're gifted this resource, this knowledge, that it's going to be relatively evenly spread to the various nations on it.
All right. But what
And
I'm asking is it different from the point of view of Chariot? Certainly it's different for humanity on how we acquire this. I quite agree. But does it make a difference to us if humanity acquires faster than light travel? Then we are irrelevant. That's what I don't know how to deal with.
Well, that's unfortunate. Irrelevancy is a pretty common trait in humanity.
We could.
If you will blankly, I'm trying to say that it makes no sense to go blithely on as if nothing's significant, as if the table hadn't been kicked over.
Of course,
The
this
rules
is
of the game,
a different
have
situation.
absolutely changed, and
So,
puts all of our planning into the shade.
when the parameters of a mission change, and you're in the field, you generally have no choice but to attempt to reconfigure the mission while you're in the field.
Well, if they change enough, you can't reconfigure the mission.
I would like to know what Hope has to say about this.
You're sent on a commando.
Point,
You're sent on a commando raid, and you discover just before you go on the commando raid that peace has been declared. Reconfigure the mission. Sometimes you can't.
I mean, there's a whole other piece of the equation here that we're talking about.
This is simple.
Who was here and able to answer it. I mean,
Hope cannot tell us how humanity should act.
We are very much at the mercy of Hope, aren't we?
But that's also not the question that I was asked. I was not given an opportunity to answer the question that I was asked. And to answer your question, no. I don't believe that if any of the progenitors' ships were shot down, that you would be able to reverse engineer our travel systems any faster than you could develop it on your own.
Good. Then, at the very least, with that knowledge, we can be pretty sure that we're not going to start an interstellar war before we're ready for it. Hopefully, we never start one.
That doesn't change what we've been talking about.
Look, you think that Chariot should stay behind. Do you think that Chariot should go? Make a decision.
I'm not the one who gets to decide. I'm making an argument.
Right. Well,
what I'm saying is,
all you're saying is that things have changed. Every single person here knows.
Very well. That's fine. You've changed. If you can't. Sorry, I thought my position was obvious on this.
That we should stay.
We should scrub the mission until we have ascertained that humanity is not in the short term going to get superluminal travel. I think to do otherwise is irresponsible to our passengers.
I think they get a choice. And look,
if our passenger complement is decreased sufficiently by defections at this point, we won't be viable at the other end.
there are enough qualified applicants. And look, so things change by the time we get to Mars. We stop. We turn around.
No, suppose they don't change until we're 10 years out in interstellar space, and people have died on board a ship, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, people who have spent 10 years of life on board the ship, we just like to tell you that when you get to Proxima B in 40 or 50 years, you will have done it for nothing. Maybe we will send somebody along to pick you up.
We
So
accepted
what-
these risks when we signed on to this mission.
No one accepted this risk.
I
No one at all,
I-
not Lucius Relelhart nor anybody else, accepted the risk that there might be aliens who would show up with the gift of technology that we have not hitherto thought possible.
I don't know, kid. All I'm hearing from you is a bunch of fear.
This isn't fear. This is realism.
Realism, anger that the perspective has shifted, that the mission has changed.
Anger that the mission has been made irrelevant. Anger that the conditions have
Yeah.
changed so much.
I don't know how to
Anger.
be anything
Not
but a
fear.
symbol to this world.
Then go. But honestly, I thought you were better than that.
Oh, really? Well, in that case, maybe you should stay. Especially since you don't seem too keen on going. Is that what you want? Is that what this is? Everything, for the time being, will continue as planned. Chariot Zeta will launch as scheduled unless there is a change in plans. But right now, for the time being, everything continues as planned. We have the opportunity to speak with Hope on our way there. That alone increases our chances, assuming things are as they appear, exponentially.
We are in the position of Aboriginals who have decided to migrate across the continent.
Because they
Thousands
take
of
risks.
miles.
Because we're
Thousands
human.
of
That's what we
miles,
do.
Thousands of miles, whereupon they meet people who can span that time in hours, and they decide we're going to walk anyway.
That doesn't mean it's not worth doing.
Yes, I'm afraid it does.
Well, then we differ on opinions there. Because I still think it's worth doing. I still think the journey is important, and I think getting there ourselves is important.
Lieutenant,
We have to keep people safe.
Safe.
Lieutenant.
Yes.
Thank you. The engines that are going to be on our ship will allow us to turn around at any point in time in the near future. They'll allow us to turn around if we're already some godforsaken reason, if we wanted to turn around then. There's no part in this journey where we cannot scrub the mission, so to speak. There's
I
it
think
is clear that there is a method of communication that is possible, of superluminal communication, superluminal information transfer, right? We have a living example of it right here.
Do you see your feed, Hope?
I'm sorry?
Do you see your feed?
Do I see my feed?
Yes.
I believe so.
If they show up in 4 or 5 weeks and say, we're going to give humanity superluminal travel, it's been a month, we turn around, we come back to Earth, we help. If they have 4 or 5 weeks and they say, you know what, humanity, you need to cool your jets for the next few years.
I mean, we're really at their mercy.
And if they come in the next 4 or 5 weeks and they say, humanity, we're never going to give you this technology, it's too dangerous.
And we
Then you
still
can
have
leave
threats. We still have threats. We still have people coming after us. We still,
And we can't.
every day we stay here is a danger. We agreed upon that already. Every day we stay here is a damn risk. And you know it, Kit. You know it. You were the one that told me that.
I think Lamar might be joining us. Poor Lamar is about to join a very complex time.
Wonderful timing, huh?
Yeah, he's gonna love this update. He's gonna love
I understand
this update.
You're angry because the mission parameters just changed.
No, I'm not angry because the mission parameters changed.
You're angry
That's
because they
silly.
changed in a way you couldn't predict.
No, I'm not angry about that either. Why would I be angry at the universe?
Well, then
No, if I'm angry about it,
why they
it's
got
because you don't see.
Because we don't see what? Your point of view?
Because we don't see that things have changed so much that bullying on in the previous mode isn't productive.
But have things changed that much?
Yes.
But you don't.
We don't. There is such divergence from this point on that no one could predict what's about to happen.
It's also, of course, nobody can predict what's about to happen.
What do you mean? Of course, that certainly wasn't the case before.
If we left 6 months ago, we couldn't have predicted that this would happen.
I'm sorry. What's the point of that?
What's the point? The point is that you're saying you're saying.
No. It's not that we couldn't have predicted this. It's that this having taken place, the possible outcomes are so different that all of our planning is for nothing.
The possible outcomes are a set of outcomes where we achieve superluminal travel, and depending on
which destroys the basis for our mission. That's basically like saying, oh well, you know, we're going to go ahead and develop this extremely difficult, dangerous, and expensive super bomb, even though we have reason to believe that peace will break out tomorrow.
But do you have reasons that peace will break out? Can you accurately weight any single outcome of the next 50 years?
If the information Hope gives is true, the likelihood that humanity will acquire superluminal travel is higher than the likelihood that they won't,
What are you basing
substantially
that
before
on?
the lifetime of the project.
What are you basing that on?
The fact that every sentient alien has been given hyperluminal travel. Do you think we are so exceptional? Are we so stunted in our capability of getting along with other people that they won't give us the fundamental technology that allows them to prosper, allows them to communicate with other?
The only species which is so far behind technologically.
Not true. She said that all the other species had been given hyperluminal travel. Therefore, they didn't have it.
There are other aspects to technology beyond superluminal travel.
There are no other aspects of technology that we know of that involves physics that we are unfamiliar with. And so what? So maybe they have weapons and shielding technology and survival technology and longevity technology that's also completely beyond our ken. That actually makes things even more, makes the whole Chariot project even more unnecessary, not less.
Lamar, can you hear us? I don't think Lamar can hear us yet.
I'm not angry at anything. Just frustrated.
I don't see. We're just saying it differently. Like, I'm not gonna say that things haven't changed,
But you are going to say that things have not relevantly changed.
That's not what I'm gonna say. I'm saying the mission has not changed. The mission objective
There you
has
go.
not changed. The objective has not changed.
No, the objective has not changed, but the rationale behind it has. The objective itself is not valuable in itself. It was a means to an end.
I don't know
We were
how
going
to
to possibly-
be
we weren't going to-
anything
we
other
weren't-
than the symbol that I am supposed to be. And that I'm
We
just
aren't
doing my
creating
job.
multi-generational ships to go to Proxima B Centauri for the joy of having done it. We were doing it in order to establish humanity in an outpost where it might, build a less torn civilization, a fresh start.
And I'm saying that
For all we know,
I'm saying that relevant or not, I still think the journey is worth something.
you're welcome to think so.
It's not like a fact you're gonna prove wrong. The journey is worth something to humanity, to me. The journey is worth something, and I had wanted to take that journey with you, but now you
You're
seem
welcome.
like you're not very interested in that.
You don't know something, and I can't tell you yet. I'm sorry.
What the hell kind of classified thing are you not telling me now?
God!
Like,
It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Damn it.
well, it did.
What was
did.
it supposed to happen like this, Kit?
First contact?
No.
The progression of Chariot? What? What shouldn't have happened like this?
You're gonna have to reveal something. Because we're not gonna get your point unless you do. What, the end of all of the Emilys? My
No.
demise?
No.
Kid, all your
Fine.
secrets are either going to be worth nothing or a lot. So,
Most of them aren't mine. I can't come.
Why is that?
Because I have been allowing you to believe something that's not true. And I had the best reasons for it. But it seems now it's not relevant.
This sounds so familiar. I almost feel like you and I have been down this road before, Kit.
I doubt it.
It feels awfully
You and
familiar.
Kit have been down this road.
What does that mean?
It means that I'm not Kit.
You... Now this is a little world changing for me. What do you mean you're not Kit?
Are you an AI?
Yes.
You are fucking kidding me.
No.
Are you the same person that I knew back when we met?
Yes. But no, not the same individual. But
Kidding me.
materially, I am. In terms of my mind, my emotions, they're no different. But Kit was killed.
The Kit that I knew was killed, or did I meet you originally?
No, the Kit you knew was killed. I'm not supposed to be here. That's to say, I'm not supposed to be operational.
You're not supposed to be operational?
No, I'm not. I was created as a decoy, I suppose.
Who activated you?
I would guess real hard.
No. Well, yes.
Huh.
But Kit was the one who told him about me. Kit had wind of a purge going on in his group. There was you may have heard something about governmental involvement in the Paraguay rebellion, which was a fiasco.
But nothing but fiascos for the past 30 years on this planet.
No, but this one was an intelligence operation.
I want you off my ship. You don't get to show up and tell me he's gone and think that you can just step into his life. That isn't how this works.
He wanted to keep you safe. What was I supposed to do? He wanted it more than anything. And I feel it, you know? Just because you're synthetic, and you know this better than anyone. Just because you're synthetic doesn't mean the emotions aren't there. I can't help the fact that I'm not him. I've just done what he would have done. He loved you.
I didn't know what I was.
No, but he did. I did. It's hard to talk about it. He knew who you were. He watched you. He was there when you were made. And he fell in love with you.
Did he intend for you to just...
No. No, when he realized that he might, that the higher up who was responsible for the fiasco might seek to purge the agency of certain people who extraordinarily embarrassing. He got in touch with Real Hart and gave him the protocols for me.
Did Lucius knew about this?
Yeah.
He knew about this.
He did.
He sends me out there and
Lucius
doesn't... Sends me out there. Doesn't even tell me.
He didn't. He didn't want you to know until you were on your way.
So you were gonna tell me. You were gonna tell me once we were already out of comm range. Was that the plan? And what was your plan to contain my rage when I found out that Kit was dead? Because that's got to be a hell of a fucking plan.
Be there.
Oh, I see what you're saying, Northrop, and believe me. There will be a reaction, but that will not be the one.
We are different in an important respect.
Yeah, what's that?
You're designed for longevity.
And you're what?
And I was designed for temporary. I wouldn't make the trip, even if I were on it. There is no possibility that I would survive any significant time. I'm not even going to have a normal human lifespan.
Do you think that I was ever really going to go on thinking that this would end in any way but me losing? Because that's
But
life.
at least you would be safe. I could make it safe until Chariot left. I could do what Kit wanted the most, which was to see you away from here. If I didn't take his place for even a short time, then I couldn't do this. And I have. I'll open up security logs to you. You can see how many threats we've countered. I still have the surface to air safe myself. I've been working literally night and day.
Well, it's time for me to make some decisions in light of all of this. First of all, I am temporarily relieving myself of command. Commander, you're in charge.
All right.
And secondly, I am going to be contacting a member of another chariot crew to undergo a psych eval. And Commander, I will report the results to you, and then you can thereupon make the decision whether I am capable of commanding. Until then, I would recommend that you proceed as planned with the launch on or ahead of schedule.
Well, I accept the duties of command as your XO, and I am now the lead commander in this operation until further notice. As of now, the mission will continue as planned. If situations change significantly within the next 23 hours, the mission might not go exactly as planned. Kit?
Sir.
I must be apprised of all security matters with respect to this ship.
Certainly. Electronics Bay B has one of the unused Emily androids currently being set up for download by Rogue Mistress.
All right.
The android has a self-destruct charge in it, which will activate approximately 15 minutes after Rogue Mistress downloads into it. It cannot be disabled by software.
Okay.
If Rogue Mistress moves her volitional centers into there, then she will cease to exist 15 minutes later. I do not recommend going into the bay, as the explosion may be somewhat violent, but not enough to penetrate the interior walls.
Okay.
Otherwise, I am putting the security logs under your password protection.
Thank you.
Recommend that you particularly read folder Project 3, as this details the threat analysis of the surface-to-space missile previously mentioned. We still have to do something about that. You will see that the source in virtually all of these files has been redacted. I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do about that. This is various kinds of governmental information, and it would threaten the safety of ZETA if, in fact, anybody here knew it.
All right.
These are all unauthorized. I did it for the safety of the captain and the ship.
They're all unauthorized? As in, Nobody.
Technically, I am guilty of many counts of espionage. Howsoever, I don't believe anybody will find that out before such time as Zeta leaves.
I don't give a shit about espionage. I give a shit about the betrayal. That was personal. He knew that would hurt me. He knew that would hurt me. He knew.
Yes, but he figured he didn't have a chance to give me instructions, all right? He was dead. The only thing I had was a log entry of his that detailed what the situation was and why I was being activated. I knew that the most important thing to him was to
Kit,
and that the only way I could help with your safety is to do what I did. Yes, Commander.
if your Kit or whatever it is exactly,
Kid is dead. At least there's no ambiguity. You may as well
you
call
were
it
made with
maybe.
one fatal flaw, which is that you can't always protect people by keeping the truth from them.
I had to decide. And remember, my Kit, my progenitor, comes from a world where you do not disclose information. I have told you some things which Kit would never have mentioned because of exigency. But I believe I am carrying out what he would have wanted, what was most important to him. He knew, yes, Emily, I am sure he would have known that you would have been hurt. But he wanted you physically safe. I mean, the emotional thing would pass. But if you were killed before Zeta launched, or if Zeta itself was destroyed, then it doesn't matter.
I think, first of all, you've made an enemy of Lamar. You certainly made it quite a mess for him to clean up, too.
There's no mess. The information sources that I've gotten this from won't discover it for some time, and even when they do, they have every political reason to keep it absolutely quiet.
At this time, I am going to take a leave of absence, and I am going to undergo counseling, and I am going to report back, and that is the only explanation that you're going to get from me.
As you see fit.
You can't bring him back. I thought I had him back.
I am him as close as can be. I don't know what else I can say, except that I will die young. But I am a close recent copy of him. I know what he knows, I feel what he feels. I'm just not the same body.
This is why it never worked. This is why it never worked. He didn't give me the details. The one thing I needed to know.
He loved you. And he had to protect you. And he couldn't tell you anything and protect you, don't you see? If he had disclosed to you anything, it would have made you a target.
It's a hell of a day to be out of whiskey.
I have some.
That would end really poorly. Tempted as I am, that would end very poorly.
Well, I mean, I have a bottle you can use.
I'll think about it.
Emergency supplies. It's labeled medkit.
Crew, I'm going to sign off. You are welcome to continue speaking under the leadership of your capable acting captain. But I need to go fulfill the procedure that I outlined. Have a good night.
Understandable. So, Kit, any more surprises in store?
No.
Charlie?
Oh, I'm sorry. There's not a surprise. I found a geneticist. Stephen Grunstein worked in Cambridge Medical Systems Artificial Gestation Centers. He's worth trying to get on. He's worth trying to get on as a passenger.
I'll review his personnel file.
It's in your inbox.
Naturally.
He estimates needing at least 10,000 diverse genomes for species health. That means artificial gestation. Up to you. Anyway, all the details are there.
Charlie, do you have anything?
I'm not much one for secrets, or not that sort, anyway.
Do you have any advice on the situation?
I think that the captain's going to do what she's going to do once her mind's set to it.
Yes.
Personally, I don't think that going ahead, that 4 or 5 weeks is really going to be that big of a deal. We're not going to miss anything.
I would certainly agree. Northrop, I'm not sure if you're still listening, but if you have anything else to add, now would be the time. Honest to goodness, besides the final preparations for launch, I don't think anything needs to be changed or dealt with right now.
One more thing, just Commander.
Yes.
In the files that I have made available to you, anything marked code indigo, once its utility has passed, you should triple delete it.
All right.
Those are things that are highly illegal for us to have. And so there's no reason that we should be found with it in the unlikely exigency anybody looks. But still, as a precautionary measure, I would security delete them all and make sure that the backup crystals are also deleted.
Might as well shoot them again.
No, for the next short, until we're out of system, it's still critical information to have.
Who knows what's going to be critical in the next 6 months?
Who knows? But I'm done with that little argument. So
good.
I just wanted her to be safe.
Well,
and I did it. And I accomplished it. It's just I didn't want her to learn it like this. Crap.
I don't think there was any point from this point on that would have ended well.
You were wondering why I was so angry at the aliens and everything being tossed into a cocked hat. Because among other things in that, all this whole thing might have been for nothing. But anyway, you'll do what you need to do. I have kept Chariot Zeta from being destroyed at least twice. And I have kept Captain Emily from being assassinated once. That I know of.
Good.
So, I did what I was supposed to do.
Well,
I did the only thing I could do. What was I supposed to have done? Just have stayed in the shadows, never come out, watched Chariot Zeta go up in flames? Blown up by a pinpoint bomb, for God's sake. There wouldn't be atoms left to bury.
I think if you had just told the captain about what you really are, things might have gone differently.
Might have, but they might have gone badly too. I might not have been able to do what I did. It was a calculated risk. If the aliens hadn't shown up, then Kit would have died in an unfortunate accident. And she would have never known. Who knew?
No one. Until you did. Until now. Well.
Well, baby's signing out. I've got work to do.
Yes, I think it's appropriate for us to sign off now. I'm going to oversee security procedures, review the security files. I'll make a determination.
Be prepared not to get a lot of sleep in the next week or so.
Yes, I'm sure I'll be kept up late at night.
There's an awful lot of stuff.
Well, I know exactly what type of world we live in. This isn't my first dealing with confidential information.
Oh, I understand. But my organization doesn't deal with confidential information. We actually originated. It's a very different kind of advice.
You'll let me know if you need anything.
Absolutely. Have a good night, Charlie.
Good night.
Get some liquor. No, I will.
Signing off.
Signing off.